everybody. I'm Beth. This is Bravely Being Yoga. I'm really happy to be here with you today. So we're going to do a very brief kind of modified hybrid practice today that is combining some concepts from yoga, but also some other really excellent self-care strategies for addressing worry. Please consult your primary care physician and your mental health professional before participating in these videos, okay? So I think that worry is something that we all struggle with to varying degrees. In my experience, worry is kind of, it's fear masquerading as compassion. I think it's this experience of needing, wanting control and feeling out of control. And so as a result of that lack of control, maybe because we've been through some hard stuff, maybe because we're just kind of wired that way, we tend to fixate, we tend to worry, and kind of spin and spiral on stuff that may be completely out of our hands. So today I really wanted to focus on some practical tools that you can use on a yoga mat, but you can also use at the airport. Everyone's traveling this time of year, right? Tools that you can use when you're in your house or when you're at school or when you're at work. You can take little bits and pieces of this and use them individually, or you can kind of tie them all together as we do here and use them as a full kind of worry relief practice, and just play with it. See what feels good. There may be parts of it that don't really feel helpful, and there may be parts of it that feel like they really resonate with your body. So all that being said, just give it a whirl and we'll see how it goes, okay? I'm actually going to show you this whole practice sitting, because I think that it's something that's very accessible when we are seated, which we unfortunately are seated so much of our lives now. But as always, if you would prefer to sit on the floor, feel free, make this your own. So we're actually going to start with our hands. So if you came into this practice feeling really worried, I'm not going to give you some specific directions about what to do with that, other than maybe just take that worry and set it aside for a second, and let's just focus on these different movements in our body, and then we'll kind of come back to the worry later, okay? We're going to actually start with our hands, and we're going to very gently kind of massage one hand over the other. So I'm going to massage my right hand by rubbing on the top and the bottom of those connection points between my thumb and my first finger there. So gentle pressure. You don't want to squeeze really hard. It will feel very tight. You will be amazed at how tight it is in there. So just gently massaging, gently applying some soft pressure, some gentle pressure, and noticing what that's like. Notice how the rest of your body responds. I noticed that I was kind of holding my shoulders, and so maybe bringing an inhale and an exhale into the space. Noticing if that exhale brings some softening to that part of your hand. Our hands are phenomenal. They're absolutely amazing. They do so much for us. So when you feel ready, maybe we switch sides. Maybe noticing a difference, if there's a big difference between the two sides. I'm actually left-handed. So my experience of what massaging my left hand feels like may be different than yours. Your left may be less tense, or maybe more, who knows. But again, as you notice that tension, all we're doing is bringing awareness, gently kind of being with it and giving it some space. And every exhale, we can kind of send to that tension instead of backing away from it, okay? Maybe when we feel like both sides are evened out, we're going to take our 3 middle fingers. We're going to come to the outside of our opposite hand. So my right hand here, we're going to take those 3 middle fingers on our left hand, and we're just going to gently tap right there along that outside rim of our hand, okay? Right here. And we're just gently tapping, nothing else. And just noticing what that feels like. All of these different movements that I'm giving you are coming from something, right? This from the the practice that's called tapping, which is a wonderful practice in and of itself. And when we feel ready, maybe we switch sides. So we'll take the opposite hand, 3 fingers, and we gently tap on the outside of, now for me, my left hand. And maybe we just notice what that breath feels like, notice where it's coming from, tapping at a fairly brisk pace, but whatever feels comfortable to our bodies right now. This is a new experience, I think, for most of us, right? And you're doing great. As we feel ready, maybe we transition. If this feels good, maybe we add some nice little squeezes to our forearms. We all like different amounts of pressure, so noticing what your body actually likes, what feels good. We're not looking for discomfort in any way. We're looking for something that feels really comfortable. Maybe we switch sides, something that feels nurturing to our bodies, softening, not something that would provoke any tension. Okay? And from there, we're gently going to cross our arms, and we're going to slowly tap back and forth in a little butterfly hug here, right? Just tapping back and forth. And as we tap with this slower rhythm, as slow as feels comfortable to you, we might draw to mind something that we find very relaxing. So maybe it's looking into a nice fire in our fireplace. Maybe it's those waves on the edge of the ocean. Maybe it's being in bed, curled up, and how comfortable that feels. Just noticing what it feels like when you really focus in on that image, that moment, that sensory experience that soothes and relaxes you naturally without any effort. And now from here, we may stop tapping when we feel ready, kind of relaxing our arms down by our sides. And we might just bring our chin down towards our chest with a nice gentle exhale. Really noticing what it feels like to continue to pull those shoulders back towards the opposite wall so that we're maintaining a nice lengthened posture, but creating some space in that cervical spine. Maybe we start rolling that head back and forth, whatever pace and whatever range of movement feels really good to us today. My neck is very tight today, and so my range of motion is going to stay really small. But again, it's not about how big the movement is, it's about the intention behind the movement, right? Maybe noticing what it feels like each time we exhale, relaxing some of those really tiny vertebrae up there. And as we feel ready, maybe we straighten back up. We might lengthen one hand up above our head and just gently allowing some space to be created in that side. So we're leaning away from that open side. On our next inhale, maybe we come back to the center and switch sides. When we feel ready, we come back to the center. We're going to come up to our forehead. We're kind of traveling up, and we'll travel back down. We're going to just gently take 1 or 2 fingers, and we're going to kind of softly rub, moving from the top of our forehead down towards our nose, okay? Kind of like when you, the reverse of when you have a sweet little puppy or a cat, and you're kind of rubbing between their eyes, they're down towards their little nose there. Just the reverse of that for yourself, moving down towards your nose. Noticing what that feels like in your body. And we're going to keep moving. So we're going to take our hands, maybe some soft cat paws. Can you tell I'm missing my animals right now? Some soft cat paws maybe along those legs, along those thighs. And with everything, this is always optional, but maybe we take a gentle forward fold over these legs. We might want some support, so that might look like pillows or blankets. If you're in an airport, you can use your backpack, honestly, or you can just gently fold forward. Some people like to take their fists, actually, right here at that crease when they're bending forward. Some people find that very uncomfortable. Some people find it very soothing. So feel free to play with that. Otherwise, we can just fold forward. I'm going to use some blankets here with a little bit of extra support. We might fold forward, stay for 3 to 5 nice deep breaths, just noticing what that's like, and then maybe we straighten back up to a nice tall spine. If we feel ready, as always, we're going at our own individual paces, but if we're ready, maybe we come back to the center. Maybe we move those blankets or pillows or bags aside, right? Coming back to the center, maybe we take one hand to our stomach and one hand to our heart. And maybe we do start to notice where that breath is kind of living right now. If it's very naturally coming from our chest, maybe with each exhale, we just let it drop down a bit more until we start to feel that stomach inflating and deflating with each breath. Doesn't have to be major. We're not forcing it, but we do want to notice how it feels to allow our stomach to really breathe for us a little bit. Maybe we float our eyes closed if that feels comfortable, or maybe we leave them open if that feels safer. Maybe we can start breathing through our nose, inhaling and exhaling. And this might be the time, if we feel like it, to pick back up those worries, or at least glance over at them, figuratively speaking. And they may not have changed. It's possible that only our body's experience of those worries has changed. But it is likely that we will have a little bit of a different perspective on those things that we were worried about. Maybe just being able to admit, yeah, I absolutely feel worried and stressed when I don't feel like I have control. That's a really valuable thing to notice. Something I have to double check in myself every day. So join the club if that's you. But just allowing that breath to continue, even when kind of glancing over at those worries, and realizing that your body was able to just address some of the physiological pieces of the worry without you having to sit and ponder and grapple, So in any case, maybe just spend another minute or two checking in with your body. If there was one particular thing or 2 or 3 things that we did that were really helpful, or if there was 1 or 2 things that you were like, oh, that was not helpful, that made me feel worse, or I didn't like that, maybe jot it down. Really notice what it is that worked well for you so that you can access it. I recommend that you practice it when you are not feeling worried and anxious. Practice it when you're feeling great, because the more that we practice, the easier it is to access when we are having a hard time. So if you have an opportunity to practice this series a few more times, then if you are someone who becomes very anxious on an airplane, you'll already kind of know, your body will know these different movements, and you'll be able to work your way through them, right? And it won't feel foreign. It will feel familiar. It will feel safe. It will feel like coming home to yourself, right? So I hope it's helpful. Keep taking care of yourselves. I appreciate the work that you're doing so much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste. Take care. Bye.